Hey everybody, Trisha Morris here at Club Scrap with another edition of our monthly page kit assembly tutorial. This time we are working with the collection called Prism, and I've got my instructions printed here as well as the entire collection in front of me, including the beautiful set of 3 different colors of ribbon. We have the gorgeous washi tape and some foam adhesive circles for adding dimension to our pages, which I love because they have the little pull tabs, making it easy to take that backing off. I've got our choices of embellishments here, including these little medallions and then the crystals, some black tags, and of course our photo mats and papers. So what I usually start out by doing is sorting the photo mats into the appropriate pocket in my accordion pocket file. And I know that many of you are new to this process, so if you have not yet made your accordion pocket file, you can do this. You'll have, as a member, you have access to the video tutorial to help you make this, and it's also ideal to have the heavyweight paper to make the file, so it's nice and sturdy for many years of good use. Okay, so let's get those photo mats filed. We're going to start out by finding 3 of the red mats, and these are going to go right into pocket for layout 1 and 2. And then we need 3 light blue. So as you can see, we do have the dark blue and the light blue. So grab the light blue. Those go into pocket 3 and 4. And next we'll take 1 black photo mat, put that in pocket 5 and 6. 2 dark blue photo mats, also pocket 5 and 6. And then the reverse, so 2 black, 1 blue, the remaining 3 photo mats, those go in pocket 7 and 8, and our photo mats are all set. So the next thing I typically do is get the paper in the order that we'll be trimming it and using it. So to begin, I usually pick up all of the entire stack of paper that came in the bag and hold it in the crook of my arm so that it's I can easily sort through it from the top. Tends to be the best way to find the paper you're looking for rather than having it flat on your work surface. It's all about that efficiency. And the first piece I want you to find is this gorgeous black print, and we're just going to put that face down in our trimmer. When we're done sorting, we'll just flip everything over to the top so that things are in order. Then this gorgeous white prism style print, followed, and we're 1 of each of those, by the way. A lot of people say 1 or both of those. Then 1 light blue plain and a dark blue plain. So 1 of each of those. And of course they're the same on both sides, so it doesn't matter how you put it on the stack. Then there should be 2 sheets of cut aparts. Let's take this one that has like the larger blue strip on it, and then this colorful edge. Let's put that face down, followed by the other cut apart that has this great big black strip on it. We'll put that face down next. I'm going to continue to sort the paper now in the order we'll use them during the slide and stack method that we'll complete at the end of our little time together. So next you'll want the other light blue plain, and then the other black print face down, followed by 2 red plains. So those will still be together. 2 sheets of those are here. And then a dark blue plain, a white print, and then 2 yellow plains. That should be the last 2 pieces you have left in the stack. And just flip everything back over so that the black print is right on top. So here I'm turning to page 2 of my instructions, and of course it shows the black print here, and it looks like the kind of heavier area of these colorful shapes will be in the lower left corner here, and then the heaviest will be on the right corner here when I place this into my trimmer. And I'm using the Fiskars 12-inch guillotine style, and we'll cut at 8.5. And before I make this cut, especially if you're new, just make sure the paper is level with the top edge and you're stabilizing on the clear bar. Then slide down to 4.25. Stabilize. And then take this 4.25-inch piece and place it in pocket 1 and 2. And when I do that, I usually just place it kind of on its at an angle so I can still see the number 1 and 2 on the left side of my accordion pocket file. Then pick up the next piece. This is also 4.25 by 12 without any colorful center area. We're just going to trim this horizontally at 6 inches and place both of these in pocket 1 and 2. And finally, the same is true for this long strip. So all of that ended up in pocket 1 and 2, easy peasy. The next sheet we'll take is this white print with the yellowish areas. We're going to put that on the left, and then the blue area will be on the right. And we'll cut this at 10. So a nice whole number for you. And 4 1/4. All right, this large piece, just go ahead and place that in 5 and 6. Take the next section, this is currently 5 3/4, and we'll cut horizontally at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, and 3 3/4. All right, so now you have 3 pieces that are all the same size. Those will go in pocket 5 and 6. And then the same is true for this larger piece that remains. That's 5 and 6. And then you have this little guy. The strip is going to be used in layout 3 and 4. Okay, now our light blue plain is next. And we're going to cut some narrow strips to get things started. So our first measurement is 11 3/4. That's intentional. It just creates this tiny little piece. And then 11 1/2, so another tiny strip. And then 10 1/4. And 4. Okay, then rotate that 4 by 12. We'll cut that horizontally at 6. And both of these pieces, which are the same size, go in pocket 3 and 4. And this larger piece, place horizontally into the trimmer. And we'll cut at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Okay, these two pieces that are the same go in pocket 7 and 8. And then you have a 3 1/2 by 6 1/4 inch rectangle. We're going to make 2 cuts here, one at 6 and then at 3. All right, so you have 2 rectangles, same size. They both go in pocket 5 and 6. And I'm very, very sorry to inform you that you have created your first and only scrap in this entire collection. And then you also have 3 remaining pieces here, these 2 narrow strips and the wider strip. All 3 of them go in pocket 5 and 6. All right, now a dark blue plain. This is pretty simple. We're going to start out at 10 1/2. Just follow with me carefully. Rotate 1 turn, and we're going to cut horizontally at 9 1/4. Creates a pretty large piece. This large piece goes in pocket 7 and 8, and then pick up the strip that is not 12 inches, and we'll cut horizontally at 8 1/4, 5 1/2, and 2 3/4. Now with this, we now have 3 perfect squares and also just more of a rectangular shape. So the 3 squares go in pocket 3 and 4, and the smaller rectangle 5 and 6. Plus you do still have this 12-inch strip. This goes in pocket 3 and 4. And we're moving right along to our cut aparts. Now, if you go back to the first page of your instructions, you'll notice the diagram and the filing map is right here. You can see the numbers where all these cut aparts will go. But you don't necessarily see specific trimming measurements like you do on the following page that we just completed together. Well, we do provide for you, especially if you're new, there are these little registration marks that indicate where you need to trim. And what's nice about this style of trimmer is that you can see right where the blade reaches the edge of the paper. And we also do try to design these cut aparts so that they cut on the nearest 1/4 inch. So in this case, when you place the cut apart into the trimmer with this bright area on the right edge, cut at 11. I'll just give you those numbers as we go and allow those pieces to pile up as we trim. Then we'll slide down to around 10 1/4. I can see those little gray marks are lining up with the edge of my blade. Then 9 1/2 and 8 1/4. 7. And finally, 4. All right, rotate this 4 by 12 and we'll cut horizontally at 6. And this is where we file for the first time. This larger piece goes in 5 and 6, and then this other one 7 and 8. And now we have a strip that needs to be cut into individual pieces. As a rule, I always put the smallest piece on the right, so I'm trimming that off first. And the measurement for that is 10. I think we're gonna have a bunch of 2-inch strips here. Yes, so 8, 6, and 4. Nice. Okay, so this piece, file that in pocket 1 and 2. And then I'm just going to grab all the little rectangles that we made and we can just deal them out. So the horizontal journaling prompt, 1 and 2. The vertical journaling prompt, 3 and 4. When you focus on the good gets better. Both of these belong with each other in pocket 3 and 4. Then we have a strip to enjoy the rainbow, first enjoy the rain. This goes in 3 and 4. And then this one needs some separation. So I think it's just going to be at 8 and 4 is my guess. Yes, 8 and 4. Live in the moment. That goes in 5 and 6. Shine, 5 and 6. And art, 1 and 2. Okay, we're almost ready. We've got 2 really colorful strips, but one of them in pocket 1 and 2, doesn't matter which one. The other in 3 and 4. And then this other rainbow type strip, 5 and 6. And we'll grab our final sheet of cut aparts, and this will actually conclude all the prep work that we need to do with the trimmer before we can begin assembly. So our first cut on this, if you put the narrowest strip on our right, that's gonna be, well, in this case, there's a little bit of a scrap. I'm going to trim off the end. I call that a neaten up cut. And what I love about this trimmer is that it is capable of cutting off something this small. So if you notice, like, just needs a little bit of a correction, you're able to do that on this trimmer. And still the measurement's a little odd at around 11 and 1/8. So just defer to where that little gray hash mark is. And then we'll slide down again. It's about 9 3/4, I'm going to say. Isolate this black strip here by trimming at 7 1/2 and 3 3/4 on this last vertical cut. Then a rotation, we'll cut at, well, it looks like again I could use a little neaten up cut. I'm noticing. Not a big deal. And then we'll trim at around 11 1/2. Yours may be different, just slightly. And then 5 3/4. Okay, so this larger piece with the prism on it, 3 and 4. And then this other guy also 3 and 4. And there should be a smaller little tiny quote that says, "You are so beautiful to me." That's 7 and 8. Now we'll trim on the horizontal here, putting the smallest piece on the right. And it's just one cut on this horizontal at 9 inches. And I'm just going to do a little tidying up here. And this larger piece goes in 7 and 8. And then the smaller piece requires one more little trim at 2 3/4. File shine in pocket 5 and 6. And colors in 3 and 4. This large piece, 7 and 8. The red strip, 1 and 2, and this other text strip, 5 and 6. There, no scraps other than this little 1/4 inch piece. If you really want to be fun about this, perhaps you can send me your ideas for how you use this little guy, but I'm just going to put him in my circular file. It's time to put the trimmer away, and let's get started on the dry fit process. For this part, we're not going to be using any adhesive to secure things to our pages. We're going to empty the pockets of our accordion pocket file and arrange the pieces on the pages where they will go. And if there's any adjustments that we want to make, we can do it at this time. And then once everything's been placed, all we need to do is adhere things. So I'll give you some tips along the way, but for starters, I want you to meet the stack and slide method. So the next paper in our stack is this light blue. And I want you to imagine that there is a center line on your work surface and the entire stack of remaining papers. This is important. The entire stack, not just one piece, is on the left of the center mark on your work surface. And then take the top sheet and slide it over. And that is the base for layouts 7 and 8. Now, why 7 and 8? Well, I like to work backwards, kind of in every way. And by working backwards, I can actually keep sliding and stacking these pages over so that when I'm finishing my assembly, my dry fit process, layout number 1 is on top, so then I can work my way back through to layout number 8 when I'm sticking things down. And also, if you find an error of some kind along the way, it can easily be remedied by working backwards. You know where something should have been, if maybe you misfiled it or something. So then I'm going to take everything out of the pocket labeled 7 and 8, set my file aside, and I like to just sort of begin with the larger things and deal everything out. So I obviously have this big piece of blue paper sort of sitting centered with a little bit of reveal on the right side, and then this really large cut apart should fit perfectly right into that blue piece. And it doesn't matter if it scoots or moves a little bit, because it all will. We just want to kind of get the feel for how this is going to come together. Then 2 horizontal mats. And we had that little "You Are So Beautiful." This is going to end up being attached to this open space here with the foam adhesive circles. And for something like that, I usually just cut the circle in half, and you still have a tab to pull. It's so much easier to add it to your layout, and you don't have to stand there for a while trying to figure out how to get the backing off. Okay, then we have 2 black vertical photo mats kind of on the lower half of this layout, followed by another blue horizontal mat, which then carries over the color into the new side of the layout, and then a vertical strip, and then this should nest right on top of the black mat. If you have a lot of photos for this page, you can add them here, remember, and you can also place your photos on top of the entire mat or just maybe this one area. This will take a 3.5 by 3 photo, which is indicated, of course, in the measurements provided in your instructions. Don't forget that we have those. The word colorful here houses 2 of those beautiful flat-backed Aurora Borealis crystals, and I attach those with bookbinding glue and a needle-tipped applicator. Let's take a closer look at how I finished this layout. I want to show you some of the other additional embellishments. Before assembling, I did take this strip and used a grid ruler to notch out the white areas in here at an 1/8 inch margin. You don't have to do that, but it does kind of add a little bit of a nice touch to this look. And then I ran the Prism washi tape, so half of it would be covered by the strip. And it's just because this washi tape is a lot. So by using half the strip, it kind of tones it down just a little bit, but adds a nice splash of color to this layout, along with this cool medallion. I glued that with our bookbinding glue, and it just holds beautifully. Also, I made a standard just single fold bow for this spot, and I am going to be putting together a basics video of my favorite ways to use ribbon, so I will cover how to make that in a bow basics, so keep watching for that. Otherwise, if you just look up how to make a basic bow, and it's really quite easy once you master it. Then here is that little piece attached with the foam adhesive circles, and then the addition of those gorgeous crystal gems added to that spot. So that's very simple, very easy to put together. That's layout 7 and 8. So now we don't stick anything down necessarily. I'm just going to slide page 7 on top of 8, and then slide the next paper over. And now in front of me, I have these 2 stacks still. This is the base for layouts 5 and 6. So I'll grab my accordion pocket file and remove the contents from that pocket. And sometimes if you're new to this, you might accidentally grab everything out of pocket 1 and 2 and you get all confused. So just make sure you're grabbing it from the correct area to work on the layout that's in front of you. And I am currently also on page 4 of my instructions looking at the images labeled layouts 5 and 6. Let's see, I've got this large strip. I think I'll place that along the right edge. Then I think the next item right next to this is some of that Prism washi tape, followed by a little vertical narrow strip. Then across the bottom, let me see here, I have 2 light blue rectangles that fit beautifully into that space. And then we also have the addition of one of these neat rounded corner black tags. I like it because only 2 of the corners are rounded, and Jacqueline designed cleverly the cut aparts to fit right into the space on that. And if you want, you could take a corner chomper or corner rounder punch and then punch the upper left and lower right corner of that embellishment. Of course, add a little bit of white of this red chiffon ribbon to the space. Just above that, you'll find a wide light blue strip that should be the perfect mate for this quote. How cool is that? Then above that, how about 2 vertical mats? And just as a reminder, I do have the mats at an angle on this page, but be careful of a tangent. So a tangent is when the corner of the mat touches either the edge of the layout or this, say, this straight line here of this border strip. So what I usually do to prevent tangents in angled photos is I put one higher than the other, and then I just tilt them both slightly and overlap them slightly. And that way you don't touch corners, creating these unattractive tangents, and maybe you don't even care about any of that, and if that's the case, that's fine. I just like to try to help everyone kick it up a notch whenever possible. Okay, so in here now we have the opportunity to use 3 vertical prints as mats, and you can assemble those any way you want. Now this is the way they were situated in the original print, and we trimmed them apart, but stack them in the same order, doesn't matter. Then how about this colorful strip, followed by the light blue, what I call paper ribbon. And then we've got some color still. And then on top of that, some Prism washi tape, which I'll show you in the finished sample. Then this guy should fit right in here. So this would be a really cool place. Maybe if you wanted to put a page title in that spot so that the artwork can shine, otherwise just layer a photo right on top. It's no big deal. And then another tag sort of is anchored by these strips running horizontally. And once again, you can add the cut apart to design to fit, plus round those corners if you wish. Add some ribbon. And then, let's see, we've got a couple more things. Just this little blue piece, and then the journaling prompt is over on the other side. I like to include at least 1 journaling prompt per double page spread. So our cut aparts between the 2 sheets usually have a total of 4 prompts. Let's take a look at the finished right side of this spread so you can see how I incorporated the embellishments. Here's that strip of washi tape. So it helps best if you attach this first and then roll the washi tape out and wrap the ends around to the back. And then just some ribbon added, and then the gem added to the live in the moment. Just a really nice, one-dimensional, but yet flashy addition to the page. Then over on the left side, you can see what a big difference that addition of the Prism washi tape adds to this. And I kind of built this from the bottom up. So I started up with my grid ruler, centering and leveling these pictures, followed by the strips, and then all the last minute things. This tag, of course, was added with the foam adhesive circles. And especially if you're overlapping onto mats, just be aware of not putting any adhesive in that space so that the photo can be tucked underneath that if you choose to put one there. Now I'll take this left page, stack it, and slide the next base over. And we're looking at layouts 3 and 4 here, and I'm consulting my graphics to kind of figure out how I have this piece positioned, but it's designer's choice, of course. And then we empty the contents of layout 3 and 4. And you can see how this system just takes out all the guesswork and keeps you moving steadily along, completing your goals, no waste, totally efficient scrapbooking, and preserving those memories. Now it's interesting in here, you've got a lot of light blue pieces that are just a little bit different in size. So if there's any confusion at all, just kind of swap things around if needed. I've got a horizontal strip here that will nest. So the sentiment nests right onto the blue and fits perfectly. Across the bottom, I'm going to have that row of 3 squares. And for placement, then I know where I can put my nested border, kind of toward the bottom of that layout. And it does get some washi tape on either side. Then we have our larger, 2 of the larger light blue mats tilted. So one higher than the other, slightly overlapped. Watch your corners, making sure they don't contact the edges of the layout. And then you just tuck a little journaling prompt right behind there. Okay, now on the other side of the layout, across the bottom, we've got a horizontal blue mat. I'm not yet sure. I think I should grab the largest one, and that's what this is. So 1, 2, 3, these are the larger. And then the 2 smaller light blue mats will be more in the upper right corner, tucked behind. So this is acting as an anchor. This border strip here is going to anchor these 2 mats. And then you can add photos to these and cover up the artwork or not, whatever you want to do. And then when you focus on the good gets better. I used a craft knife and cutting mat to cut angles into this, or you can just leave them as they are. Then a tag. Add a little bit of blue ribbon to that. and you can tuck this narrow piece just under there as a little bit of an accent. And what I did was took a corner chomper, or corner rounding punch, and I punched the lower corner of this, and I also punched the upper left and lower right of this, and added some of these beautiful crystals to that spot. I think this is one of my favorite pages in the set. Just the way it came out, it's so colorful, and just the way I was able to repurpose that scrap. Maybe I could add him to that spot with a little rounded corner. I don't know, it's kind of cool. Kind of adds a little something. You could put some journaling there, maybe a little comment or a little caption for this photo. Here's some blue ribbon added to the top of the tag, and then look how cool those crystals looked. I added these with the help of my little 2x8 grid ruler so they could be nice and level and evenly spaced. On the left side of the layout, it's basically just as you see. The only difference is that I added a loop of this ribbon. So in this case, just simply fold a really short piece, like a 3-inch piece of ribbon in half, and tape the ends to the back of the journaling prompt before you place it. And then here I ran the washi tape across the page, so part of it is hidden by this strip. And I just used my ruler to help make sure that this was nice and straight, and also to ensure that these were level and evenly spaced. Now I'll slide this on over, stacking, and then the last base for layouts 1 and 2. We're already almost there. These are pages 1 and 2, all the things out of that pocket. I'm going to start out with these largest pieces. The skinniest one goes flush in the lower right, and then the wider piece goes flush in the upper left, and I love the way that balances out what we have here. And then a colorful strip with some washi tape showing. I'll show you that in the finished again. Same here. So I added little washi tape and then covered up some of it with this strip. Then 2 angled, slightly overlapping photo mats here. Now, of course, if you like to have it straight, you can do it that way too. Whatever you like. I understand. Okay, here I took off, just clipped those corners, punched a hole, added some black ribbon to the top of this, and if they are angled, you'll notice that this kind of can tuck behind there if you wanted to, or just have it fit into the space. And the width of this journaling prompt is the same as the tag, so it looks really nice, kind of stacked right there. Then you should have one more black tag on which you can put our last quote around those corners and layered on there with our foam adhesive circles. So that's going to go right around there, and then we got 2 horizontals and 1 vertical mat just fitting there like a puzzle. And what I like here is that these are straight and level, and then these are tilted. Just adds a little bit of, I don't know, balance. Plus you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a nice odd numbered grouping of photo mats. Let's take a look at the finished layout. And this I actually added photos to. It was kind of spur of the moment, but I did add photos to this one already. Added 3 more gems. There's that beautiful grosgrain ribbon. It kind of has a little black sparkle, like a little metallic woven into it, which is so beautiful. Some spot for the journaling, and you can see just about a 1/4 inch of that peeking through. So first I added this, then laid the washi tape down right next to that edge so I can have the edge to follow. Then I chose how much of this I wanted to be revealed, and it's about a 1/4 inch. And then here is the other half of that layout with the ribbon added to the tag, the washi tape, same type of thing I did from the other page, and finished that with 1 little medallion. So I'm very proud of my daughter, Emily. She graduated from UW-Madison last year, and her first week on the job, she had the opportunity to fly on a private jet to visit a manufacturer. So that was a pretty cool experience, very deserving of this collection. I just think it's absolutely perfect. That's still on my bucket list, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen for me. So if anyone, you know, has a private jet and you want to invite me on, I'm more than happy to take you up on that opportunity. All right, well, that's what I have for you with this beautiful Prism collection. Be sure to watch for the blog for more just little tips and details for assembly. But this is definitely the ultimate way to get the most number of tips. So please keep tuning in with me every month. Subscribe to Club Scrap's YouTube channel if you haven't already. And I hope to also see you at Club Scrap's private Facebook chat group. We'll see you there, and be sure to share your layouts with us. Until next time, have a good month.